Jorge Macri, head of the government of the city of Buenos Aires. Thank you for coming to have us at night on such a hot day, right? It's
been a long time since I've been in the media. Why? Because I also received the message from society in May, and it seems to me that it was time to get much closer to the neighbors than the media, and I'm very happy with this path that I took after that election. Very happy with the result of the last election. I also believe that after this blow that society applied in September in the province of Buenos Aires, in a way, the possibility of reaching agreements, we went together in the city, we got more votes, which is the sum of the separate votes that we had obtained in May. I think that's also when they got more votes. Now, with Patricia, this October election in the city, we got more than 50. If you look at what Adorni got in the Panados in May, we didn't even get to 50. So, it seems to me that there was also a message of unity in society. Patricia is going to challenge you in 207 or not. Or not, we'll see.
Or not, or a presidential candidate, I don't know. I don't think she can be welcomed into competition. I came to the city of Buenos Aires, I had to compete with lust. I like competition, it challenges me, it sets the bar high, it seems to me, to you, right? Right now there are other channels on the air and competition brings out the best in us, right? I'm not worried about competing, and I celebrate this call that the president has made.
To dialogue. I think I said it the other day at the meeting, it puts us more in the tone of last year, not this year. This year there was too much confrontation, noise. This year, no, a lot of noise, a lot. One of the noises was, the discussion of my law with governors, with deputies, with senators, with yourselves. The competition in the city was very tough, right? And
what changed? We can see the image. It caught everyone's attention. We all talked about Milia's hug, Jorge Macri. Yes, and when you went there, you thought he was going to greet you, that he wasn't going to greet you. Were you talking or not? Or
not with him. No. He was talking.
There are both images, right? The one of Tatum is in May.
I stopped with my hand there, but oh well.
Yes, May, October. But that's why it's a hug. And how does it go from May
to October? It wasn't October, it was Thursday, it was still October. So from May to October, what changed? Did they talk before in the middle? They never talked, not with him. I usually speak with Pilar Ramirez, who is the president of La Libertad Avanza in the city of Buenos Aires, with whom I discuss legislative needs. Obviously, I speak with ministers, I speak with Todo Caputo, because we are there trying to resolve the issue of revenue sharing. My chief of staff, Sanchezini, speaks a lot with different secretaries and ministers. I usually speak with Patricia because we have to resolve the issue of prisoners. We are in the middle of construction of the Marcos Paz prison, which unfortunately was stopped during the Reda administration because if not, we would have already resolved that problem. You are not going to get along with the Reda.
No, I don't know. No, it is not an issue. It is not an issue of friends, it is an issue of objective data. That is an objective fact. I was a minister and I did not think it was a good idea to suspend that work. I want to show the image once again and insist on something because, for me.
What is happening is not minor. Well, I think it is very healthy and very good. I think it hurt Miley not to say hello or make that gesture in May. I think a lot of people were upset about how rude this is, right?
And at the same time it seems like he heard it and saw it himself because he gives you a hug. He could have shaken your hand, right? Say it right. And he gives you a hug. We used to hug each other. I shared events with him on national holidays. I was at the rural last year. This year there was no greeting, but it doesn't matter. Oh, of course. Well, they were together at the R and no, but at least they didn't look at each other, let's say. But hey, I always say the same thing. The work we have to do is hard work and we chose it.
Yes. So I don't like to dwell on the more personally uncomfortable aspects. What's important to me about the hug? The possibility of being able to work together. Well, I think people expect that from us. We have to move forward with labor reform or labor modernization. I would say that it should not affect the rights of those who already have a stable job, but rather give the possibility to many people who are currently working illegally to be able to work legally. That was the big concept that the president expressed the other day, and I think it was important to tell you that. Sure, in fact, I use the word stock versus flows. They spoke, you spoke.
Yes, yes, yes. And he took the time to respond to each of the interventions that each governor asked about or not. I asked him. We talked about the issue of labor modernization. I used the concept of stock, that is, there are a lot of people who have job stability, who are working illegally, many of those who will surely be here. Well, they have a labor framework. There is no need to change that, but we do need to generate new legal jobs in the private sector. Legal jobs have not been created for years, so people work semi-legally, right? This guy bills you, but he actually works for you. We have to
See you today, for example, with the issue of street vendors, which is a problem that the city of Buenos Aires has. And how do you do it? Because that's obviously where it all is, right? Black people who are like their job prospects.
Yes, but it's a job prospect that hides many dark things behind it. Canaletti made this known. I mean, every time you have informality in any area, the worst is hidden behind it. I mean, behind a street vendor, there's someone who charges them for the space. I mean, the space that belongs to all of us, there's someone who charges them for it.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, right? There are organizations, but also the merchandise they sell is what falls off a truck, which is the polite way of saying someone who steals a truck and finds a way to sell it. The same with evictions. We've had 477 evictions in the cities I took over. That's 3 per business day. There were 30 a year. That is returning to a private entity what used to be private. But behind someone who usurps, in general, there is also drug dealing, trafficking, and those who commit crimes. So it is a kind of oil slick that contaminates the neighborhood. I went there to tell you this. Well, how do you make those who are in the informal sector transform themselves? Because jobs start to be created. Well, I will give you a clear answer. Jobs are created on, for example, Avellaneda Street in Flores. This is a huge shopping center U11. If the merchant does well, it is likely that someone who was working on the sidewalk will get a job as an employee. Now, for that you have to have a labor reform and the person who sells has to do well. Because what happens when you have a street vendor? He sells what the legal merchant should be selling, and you also ask him to have a fire extinguisher and pay his taxes. So, now if they share the market, half of that market is taken by someone in the informal sector, both from the product, that product that was sold fell off a truck or is illegal, entered Argentina illegally. So you start a positive cycle. If that happens in commerce, and the merchant will give work to someone else as soon as he can. That's what you need to return to normal. A normal country does not live off informality because things are bad when it is informal. Sure, let's go back to that meeting with the governors and with my law there. What did they agree on? We agreed to move forward on, I would say, 2 very important central reforms. The modernization of the way of hiring going forward, that is, a labor modernization to generate new jobs formally, and a tax reform that allows taxes to be lowered. Up until then they did not know that Santilli was going to be Minister of the Interior. How do you like Santilli? Colo, so welcome. It seems to me that they are on good terms, huh? Yes, with Colo. Very good, very good. His people, he has a history in the city. Then he went to the provinces, but his people who have worked a lot with him, are part of my team. Matias Lopez, who is the vice president of the legislature, community members who work within his team. Yes, I have a good relationship and I think he has complaints, right? To the nation, for example, he has. Well, there you have Antilli now. I would say, we have complaints and we have many things that are a great opportunity to be different. For example, today we removed the street vendors from this area of the slaughterhouses, but there's what used to be the old cattle market, which is a piece of land that is abandoned, where we are providing security. It belongs to the nation, but it is a hole in the city. A lot of things can be done there: housing, schools, health centers, parks.
How do you want to work with the nation, with the government of
yours? And I'm working on that with Pilar Ramirez and some ministers. And I think that the arrival of someone like Colo, who has the ability to dialogue and has management experience, you need both. You need to be able to dialogue, but also for things to happen.
And it seems to me that Colo also brings that to the team. Do you think Miley is eating up the pro? No. Well, Patricia left.
Well, but that's Patricia's decision too. Well, now he's also a minister of my law, he was a pro-deputy, he was going to be a candidate, for example, for governor of the right? For governor of the province, and that's
Great.
But do you think that it's going to continue being a new party like La Libertad Avanza? It has to draw on talent, on capable people from different places, leaders like you. Right? But with that criterion, we took leaders from the Radical Party when we put together our team, they weren't radicals who worked with us. Today there are people from the Pro who work with the president, and that's great. If the country does well, this city will do better. Consider that few people know this in a small spot on the map. The city of Buenos Aires is home to 20% of Argentina's GDP. 1 in every 5 pesos is produced in this city. Imagine if the country starts to do a little better with everything we have to do in these cities, and we can also undertake and demonstrate transformations. We are in the process of transforming public transportation, moving to electric public transportation that doesn't vibrate, doesn't pollute, and doesn't make noise. We can be the spearhead of a transformation for the entire country, and we are doing it in education and health. If we can also work together with the national government and the country grows, we will be better off. Macri said that there will be a pro-government candidate. Let's say Mauricio Macri, saying that there will be a pro-government candidate in 2027. Mauricio Macri says he will be a presidential candidate. Let's see if in politics, what has been talked about the most in recent years is whether freedom of movement will kill the pro-government or not. Whether pro divided it or not, they would talk and advertise pro all day long. The PR is more alive than ever. It has 400 leaders that no one else has. What it doesn't have yet is a well-known candidate for deputy, which it will have in the 27th. But today the priority is to support ideas, and the ideas that Mr. Macri promotes are the right ones. He has to add those changes that irritated many people, and despite being irritated, prioritizing ideas, they said, I'm going to vote. Although I would like him to stop shouting, to talk more, to include more people. And that message is there, he heard it, I think he heard it. In a few hours we're going to go back to, he invited me to eat some breaded cutlets again, we'll talk again. He agreed with me that I should go and tell him what I think.
And then the breaded cutlet dinner ended badly. Do you know anything about that? I didn't talk to Mauricio. Why not? No. I swear I didn't talk to Mauricio. That ended the scene badly, it seems. Or not.
Well, he's a former president, a current president, what's the point? They have differences and that's fine, it's reasonable. Now, in no case should we find the spirit that this government will do badly. And it's reasonable that the Pro wants to have a candidate in the 27, because competition brings out the best in all of us, and that doesn't mean breaking spears, it means that we want to discuss on the merits, that is, that they do well, that we do well, and that the people are better off, and then choose. Then you have political sectors that always speculate that the other person will do badly. It happened to us when we were in government. It happens to me as head of government. There are some who try to bring down because they think that if there's a failure, they can rise to power. I think they're mistaken. People realize that attitude. People want healthy competition. Show me how good you are. Well, I have to break it in the management for the 2 years or so that are left, and if people see that I'm doing well, they'll re-elect me. Not because the others don't exist or because I say they're bad. People are fed up with that fight. For example, didn't Mauricio Macri like the appointment of Adorni as chief of staff? What do you think of the new cabinet of my law? I'll tell you something, I like having the freedom and responsibility to put together my team, and I think the president should be able to put together his team. Now, when he puts together a team, the others have the right to have an opinion, but the power today, the responsibility, and the one who sits in that seat is the president, and that's my law. Now you go with the best of intentions, as I think Mauricio always does. You give him your point of view and he can then give his opinion. I don't like this person so much, but hey, at the end of the day, it's the government of my law.
We were talking with the team, with Marcos Navarro, with Canaletti, with Flor Barragan. We were talking about this second half of Miley. What do you see in my book? The one who shook your hand or the one who hugged you on Thursday?
I always had a good relationship with him, except for the last 5 months until now, so for me the good treatment and good bond with him were more common than what happened in this time. So I have no reason not to believe and be convinced that
We have a great chance of working together. How?
And that doesn't mean I'm changing my shirt, it means working together for specific things, more security, more development, more investment. The president talks a lot about the opportunities that Argentina has with its natural resources. This city doesn't have natural resources, but it has the most important thing that any society has, which is human capital. Here in this city we have the capacity to generate added value from culture, the content industry, technology, services, financial services. That's what we are. And he said that, well, the city of Buenos Aires was, he didn't say these words, but a powerhouse in the number of bars and restaurants. It's
true. He spoke of 13,000 compared to Madrid. He said, in Madrid there are 8,000, but of course, the noise he makes to him is the economic, that is, that people consume, that they have money in their pockets to go out to eat.
People are tight, very tight. People are often using their credit cards in installments to make ends meet, but not for the. Because it's one thing to get into debt to buy something, a machine, your house or a car that will allow you to work, right? People are often getting into debt today to maintain their food status, their ability to access food, medicine. They're not having a good time. Even so, there's a message in the vote that is very powerful. I'm not having a good time, but I'm willing to exchange a little current pain for future hope, because you know what? The short-lived well-being that populism gave me, I've already realized, is destroying my future. So, people are in an attitude that was very much in the Argentine DNA. Argentines have long been accustomed to striving for a better future. And I think that's what they perceive today, that there is someone who wants to do things right. There are many of us, it's not just the president, as he said, in order for a country to get going we need many of us working in the same direction. The first ones who are working in that same direction are millions of Argentines who get up every day, fight, get to the end of the month with water, but say, I won't back down, I won't back down, I don't want to go back to the past. And we have to take care of that and we have to rise to the occasion. That's why I celebrate, I told the president, I celebrate the call for dialogue. Now I have to get to work in Congress with the ministers, find the agreements, the fine print, the details, but with good intentions. We're going to improve. Hey, Jorge is with us. Let's improve the microphone for a second.